Hello and welcome back to the BOSStimator. Ryan Frick, personal trainer. Past two tutorials on reporting mechanisms for the BOSStimator. We discussed how to identify who the report is for and what level of detail, and then we discussed what types of stuff you wanted to include on the report and how to filter that out. I'm going to get into and start making a couple of reports so you can see the differential. I'm going to make the first one so it shows no details. So it's basically a summary report, and I'm summarizing it by category 1 only. And I'm going to press the print the selected report. It's going to take a few seconds to generate. There's a lot of information. It's sorting it by the labor, pulling it together for a summary, creating the look of the report, and then displaying it as per a category number 1 only as well. So it's generating a lot of stuff. So while this is being generated, I'm going to put it on pause and I'll get right back with you. Alright, the report is finished, and as you can see here, it's a very generic report as broken down by the category as the first sort. So you get the general category, and this is by labor only. Types is labor with all the categories that we had in there, so it's just labor only. And if you had your logo, it would show up here, and your company information and everything you would have would be here. And then this is the project information that is being done, and this is the estimate information. So it's this is the title of the report. This is how you adjusted that a while ago, but you can see it's categorized just by the category only. So we got a total of, let me go back to the last page, 46,907. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one, and instead of having no details, I'm going to select it as having some details, so you can see that it's going to make a little bit more information on the report, and I'm going to print that same report again, and I'll get right back with you again. Okay, now you're probably looking at this and saying that $280 that I have set up here for building permits, that's not the same number as it shows up here as the building permits. And that's a true statement. It's not. Now, why would that not be? And the reasoning it is because this is labor only. It does not include subs, materials, or other costs associated with the building permit. So the labor for the building permit is $135. So the overall cost is a lot more than that. But let's go to the general conditions and look at the overall price. I got $10,299 for labor only. Let's see if that is the correct amount for the general. So if we go back to the estimate, and I have it sorted by the general, that's what I did a few seconds ago. And if you come over here and you look just on the labor portion of the general, you'll notice that is $10,299. This rounds it up. This report is the exact sense. So you can see that those two balance each other out. So that is accurate. So now we just created this report, and we have the tasks shown. So let's say, well, how did that $135 come about? Where is that at? Let's see it, the details behind it, which is actually called the items. So I'm going to go back out, go back to the estimates, and I'm going to see all details. And by doing so, what will happen is the report will be able to print it out, and you'll see how that $135 was made up. I'm going to put it on pause, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, this report is now taken care of. I still have the same total of $10,299, but now the building permit is broken down into what's behind there. So we have it filtered specifically only for labor, so that's all that's going to show up here. And we have an administrative assistant, we have an office manager, we have the conversion rate and what the cost calculates down to, and you add all that up and it comes up into $135, and that's what we had on the last go round. So as you can see, that the first report that we had that had no details was 1 page or 2 pages, and now I am totally up to 13 pages long. Price is still the same, it's just giving it more detail within each one of the reports. Let's make it a little bit more detailed still. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and you can play around with this, but I'm just going to quickly go through this. And instead of being at category 1 only, I'm going to make it category 1 and category 2. And I'll print that report, and then I will be right back with you again. Alright, now that report is generated, and the difference was that we had on the previous reports we had just category 1. Now we're having categories 1 and category 2, so it breaks it down even that much further with all the detail yet. So we have general conditions, and that's as far as the breakdown we had last time. Now we have it as administrative costs within general conditions of $465. So then you have management and control costs within general conditions, and that's $3,097, and so on and so forth. You got cleanup costs within general conditions, you got mobilize within general conditions, and each one of those have the detail behind it. So you could see we went from, I think it was 13 pages. Now we are up, or we went a little bit more on the pages because it just summarizes just a little bit more in detail. But that is the next set of all the details. Now if we wanted to go one more step further and go all of the categories, you'll have category 1, category 2, and category 3, so it's even more details. So I'm going to put it on pause and I'll be right back with you. Alright, now we got the 3 levels of the categories. We have the general conditions, we have administrative, and then we have general admin permitting. So we got the permitting cost, which is $270. We have review board, which is $90, and then we have impact and tax fees of $30. Again, this is only labor portion. So you add the 30, 90, and the 270, and that comes up to $465. And again, you can go through each one of these items, and we'll get back to the last page. Last time it was 14, now we're at 15 pages. The overall subtotal doesn't change. It just breaks it out even that much further into detail. So that is the total, all details with all categories, and you can go between the 2 combinations as much as you want. You can have some details, some categories 1 and 2, and then you can come in here and we'll get one of the really a fancy one. I want labor, material, and subs. I'll take it in the categories of only concrete, electric, frame, and plumbing in all areas, jobs, and options, and I want to include the add-ons, and the add-ons have $1,000 of commission distributed. So you got a huge amount of complex calculations, but now that you have that, it's as easy as pressing a button, and it will filter it, sort it, only show that with some details in categories 1 and 2. And I'll be right back with you. Okay, now that report has been generated, and again we have labor, material, and subs only. We don't have other or equipment. In concrete, electric, framing, HVAC, and plumbing categories only. So we got concrete. The general administrative is not there. Framing, we got some details, which is summarized by tasks only. And we are now down to 3 pages. That subtotal of that combination of the report is $80,000. Then we have the administrative add-ons, which is the overhead, taxes, and travel as a percentage of the labor, because we got $12,000 in labor, $38,000 in materials, $29,000 in subs. You add that up is a total of $80,000, which matches this. Then these different percentages apply to those individual items, and you can see how that overall works in giving you a percentage of the estimate as well. You'll notice on this report that in the add-ons we had an additional commission of $1,000. That $1,000 was distributed. So on the reports, the actual cost is only $79,035.07. And due to we're distributing that item as the item, each one of these is a percent of the overall cost. That percentage is then multiplied, and the markup is added to the cost per each. So it's distributed throughout the entire cost of the entire project, and you'll never see it. No one would ever see it because it's built into the cost. So that is this function. we can get back into, I'm going to close down the add-ons. That's basically the step number 4. These are the standard reports. The next tutorial will get into custom reports, which is even more powerful than the standard. And once we get into that, you have more ability to manipulate your reports as much as you want to and as custom as you want. Check back often, play around with some more of the reports, and if you have questions, call the boss.